A TikTok user has rebutted Associate Professor Eugene Tan's recent remarks on the Electoral Boundaries Review Committee, particularly his claim that there have never really been any evidence of unfair practices in the redrawing of electoral boundaries. Speaking to Mothership, Eugene Tan explained that even if the EBRC were independent of the Prime Minister's office, concerns about impartiality would likely remain. He argued that any committee responsible for redrawing electoral boundaries must still be appointed by someone, and in Singapore's context, that authority ultimately rests with the Prime Minister. As long as the Prime Minister makes these appointments, he said, accusations of bias are inevitable. He noted that while accusations of gerrymandering are common, there have never really been any evidence that is put forth. In response, a TikTok user, Joe, released a 6-minute video disputing Tan's remarks, using data visualization to argue that there is a lot of concrete evidence that there is opacity in our electoral system. Joe presented 3 key arguments: inconsistencies in the Elector-to-MP ratio, potential partisan bias, and the questionable compactness of electoral districts. Joe first analyzed the EBRC's approach to maintaining the Elector-to-MP ratio, a key metric in ensuring fair representation. She plotted the distribution of this ratio across electoral districts and found significant discrepancies. While the reported mean ratio is 28,384 electors per MP, the actual range varies widely from 22,000 to 33,000, a 51% difference between the smallest and largest districts. A striking example was the comparison between Marine Parade Bradel Heights GRC and Sengkang GRC, where the data suggests ambiguity in whether these constituencies should have 4 or 5 MPs. Joe noted that the decision-making process behind such allocations remains opaque, as the EBRC white paper does not explain these discrepancies. Furthermore, she pointed out that opposition-held constituencies tend to have higher elector-to-MP ratios, meaning that their MPs serve a larger number of residents compared to those in ruling party strongholds. This could result in unequal access to resources and parliamentary representation. The second point of contention was the concept of partisan symmetry, the balance between popular vote share and actual parliamentary seats won. Ideally, these figures should be proportional, ensuring that Parliament accurately reflects voter sentiment. However, Joe highlighted a visible trend where ruling party strongholds tend to have lower elector-to-MP ratios, potentially giving them an advantage in securing more parliamentary seats. While she acknowledged that the data alone does not conclusively prove intentional bias, she argued that the observed patterns warrant closer scrutiny and greater transparency. Joe also examined the compactness of electoral districts, an important criterion in fair constituency mapping. Using the Polsby-Popper score, a widely accepted political science metric, she evaluated the shape and boundaries of Singapore's electoral districts. Her analysis revealed that many constituencies scored poorly on compactness, with Marine Parade Bradel Heights GRC receiving a particularly low score of 0.25 out of 1. Joe questioned the rationale behind irregularly shaped districts, such as those with sections that appear to jut out unnaturally, and noted that the EBRC white paper does not provide explanations for these spatial decisions. Concluding her video, Joe cited a 2005 publication by Eugene Tan, which discussed how electoral and spatial integration efforts are often undermined by the ruling party's interest in maintaining political dominance. She emphasized that rather than dismissing concerns as baseless or anti-PAP, there should be greater transparency in the electoral process. Joe's recent video builds on an earlier analysis she posted in response to the EBRC's 2025 white paper, which had already questioned the fairness and consistency of Singapore's redrawn electoral boundaries. In that earlier video, she examined whether all votes in Singapore hold equal value, focusing on the EBRC's stated aim of maintaining a consistent elector-to-MP ratio. While the average number of electors per MP is reported as 28,384, Joe argued that averages conceal key disparities. Using a histogram, she showed that most constituencies deviate significantly, with elector-to-MP ratios ranging from 22,000 to over 33,000, a 51% gap between the smallest and largest districts. She pointed out that residents in Kebun Baru, Marymount, and Mountbatten enjoy better representation, while those in West Coast, Jurong, Ang Mo Kio, and Bukit Panjang which had the highest ratio, may be underserved. Joe also highlighted the case of Marine Parade of Brattle Heights GRC and Senkang GRC. Despite a 5,000 voter difference, the former received 5 MPs while the latter got 4. Based on her calculations, both could have had either number, suggesting that such decisions may be arbitrary. She argued for a narrower distribution of elector-to-MP ratios to reduce ambiguity, and noted that with a statistician on the EBRC board, such inconsistencies should have been better addressed.